going on? Hi. Hola. ¿Cómo está? Muy bien. Wow, that was the whitest guy, most white guy Spanish ever. Muy bien. What is going on, everybody? It's another day. It is Friday, September 2nd, and this is episode 42. I hope you brought your towel. If you got that reference, we're friends. Anyways, what's up, everybody? I'm Jon. This is Jon Does. Don't forget to check out wilddinosaur.com. It's my website. I have links to all my art, music videos, all the links to stream music and whatnot. Also, I have an online store where you can get all kinds of cool stuff like this tote bag. It's a nice polyester tote bag. Sweet handles. They come in different colors, just red, yellow, and black. So check out wilddinosaur.com. I got some cool art there. I'm trying to live off my art, and it's not so much a dream. It's a dream of mine to live off my own art, but the reality is a nightmare. Hey, what is up? I'm still a little pissed from yesterday about the whole guitar thing. I'm gonna just keep doing this for a little bit now until I think everybody gets it. But there's a new schedule for Jon Does. This is it. Monday and Tuesday will be at 5 p.m. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday will be at 6 p.m. for at least the next 14 to 16 weeks due to school. I would love to move it just to 6 p.m., but I unfortunately have to. Unfortunately for you guys, fortunately for me, I have to do school stuff. I don't mean that I don't like being here. I'm ready to have a certificate from an institution, because I do not. And I'm getting close. I have five classes to complete. And 2 of them are this quarter. So that's part of the reason why I'm not just doing a 6 p.m. show every day. Let's see. I had some things off the top. Oh, yeah. So also in regards to the show, I've been trying to get things together a little better. Try to make the shows a little bit more interesting, and this might take me a little bit of time to get going, but I'm considering bringing back some old things. There's the virtual crate that I used. It's a secondary channel. It's still up, but I like the name. And there was a segment I used to do called Crate Dump. I'm thinking about bringing those back in some capacity. I'm not sure how yet. They'll definitely be. I'm not sure if I'll call it the virtual crate or the crate, Wild Dino's Crate Dump. I don't know. But I would like to maybe have like 1 episode a week dedicated to like music stuff, be it like I was trying to do yesterday, talk about some gear or play some music or talk about, new music that's out, or just music that I listen to. I would love to talk about like old music too. I like new music, but there's a lot of good old music that people probably aren't familiar with. So, just like a good music conversation. Play Stairway to Heaven. If I can get my freaking guitar working, I worked on it again. I think it's my interface. I think the problem that I was having yesterday has to do with my audio interface, and the problem it's a really nice interface, but I'm not used to it because there's a lot of controls that are digital, and I'm used to working off mixers, and even my old interface was like very right there in your face, and I don't really like having to have a digital interface to work hardware. That's annoying to me. You'll probably hear me bitching about a lot of shit, tech wise. Adobe pissing me off again today. Shocker. They made it easy for me to want to consider switching to something else, because they're just changing interfaces constantly, and like every time I open it, it's something new, and I'm like, I'm relearning this again. I might as well just relearn a new software and never have to do this again, because Adobe makes me want to do violent things. I'm glad you made it, Jason. Yeah, sorry. Just angry at technology and very much over it. I'm just trying to make stuff, guys. But anyways, going back to the show stuff, I want to do like yeah, John bitches about computers new on Wednesdays. That's not a bad call. Actually, you brought it up to me when we talked on the phone about like doing various things, and I do want to do like various shows throughout the week. And the two that I'm thinking about right now are reusing old names that I like. The Virtual Crate was a podcast that I did like 2 years ago, and I took over my old channel that I was it used to be called Dino News, and that's another one that I want to bring back. I think Dino News might not be like the entertainment segment like it had historically always been. I think I might do like a once a week, like talking about news, not just entertainment stuff. This is I'm still spitballing these ideas. I do think that I'll either call it Crate Dump or the Virtual Crate episodes where it's all music based stuff, and then Dino News might be like I don't know, Thursday episode or something later in the week where I like talk about like actual news instead of just entertainment stuff. I wanted to do an entertainment news day as well once a week, but I find that's very difficult. It's easier to talk about like world and national news weekly than it is to talk about entertainment news, because it's a smaller industry, obviously, and there isn't always news to talk about. Sometimes there's a lot of news, like for example, next week is D23. And I'll cover Friday, and I'll probably do Saturday too. I'll probably do an extra episode next Saturday to cover some of that stuff. But that doesn't happen all the time, you know. There's oftentimes one, maybe two news stories, and sometimes they're not things you can talk about for, you know, more than 5-10 minutes. If you have multiple people around, you know, like I love the interaction in the comments and all in the chat, and also, you know, if like somebody else is here in studio, I can extend things a little longer. But to do a full hour episode on like, I'm not talking about it today, but there was one of the head executives from Warner Brothers is stepping down after like 33 years. She oversaw, I think, Harry Potter and a bunch of other Lego movies and like a bunch of other big franchises and stuff. And I think that has to do with the Warner Brothers Discovery merger thing happened. I don't know. I didn't fully dive into that, but you know, like I could talk about that for a little bit of time, but I also don't want to rehash stories that we've already talked about too much unless it's new. You know, this would be a new piece to the puzzle, but it's not something where I'm going to sit there and like start going over Amber Heard or Ezra Miller and all these larger things that have these large problems that have made a giant mess for Warner Brothers. I would just like to talk about, the reasons why this person's leaving, what they've done, what they might do next, and who might be replacing them. And that's like a shorter conversation, unless I knew them, and I don't know any of these executives. But Jason loves crates and Dino News. I appreciate that. The virtual crate didn't last as long as I'd hoped. I need to go back and look, but I think we've already done more episodes of Jon Does, or I think we've done more episodes of Jon Does now than I've done a virtual crate. But yeah, so these are just thoughts about like getting my weekly schedules together more, other than just having like a time for you to come listen to me like yell about Adobe for the 100th time. But you would know like Tuesdays are gonna be like virtual crate days, and Thursdays are gonna be like news days, Dino News days, or I don't know if I'll keep that name. I might change it around a little bit. Still mulling that over. But I do like the like free loose live stream, and I want to keep doing them, but I do think it's better content to give you guys something a little bit more focused, and I don't always have that opportunity based on what's going on in entertainment news. So that is something that's being thrown around in my head. Would love any input you guys have. I was thinking about calling the episodes like Jon Does would be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or something like that, and then virtual crate would be on Wednesdays. But I kind of don't want to change the shows around too much. I just like in the titles it would be like Jon Does episode 56 or whatever, and then it would be virtual crate, so it'd still be a Jon Does. Now it's a little bit of a mouthful, and like 2 titles for one show. But it would I think start giving people an idea of what content they're getting those days. So any suggestions are helpful. I'm sorry, this channel is still a work in progress. I'll get there. And also, the other thing I have to keep in mind is, I think just the idea of having a schedule, but it's more of a guideline. So if something comes up, you can change, but people have an idea of what's coming. Yeah. That's part of the goal, Monday might be, honestly, when it comes to entertainment news, the best days, they're all sporadic, really, it's all sporadic. It could just be like news breaks right now. And I mean, that's how news works, duh. But, I think usually Fridays or Mondays would be better days for like entertainment talk, but I want to still be available to like talk about some stuff. So that's why I think like doing this Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then having a music show on Tuesday and then a news show on Thursday or something might work. But what I was gonna say before I read Jason's comment, which we're on the same page there. I think it's a good idea, but it's just gonna take a little bit of time for me to implement. And the reason why is not just coming up with ideas, but if I make new segments, I have to make graphics for them too. And I can reuse stuff for sure, but one thing I was the reason I had Adobe issues today was I was looking at I use the stuff you see on screen. I made all this except for the box around my video. I think I just grabbed that from somewhere and then like changed the color and then added where the text goes. I like extended it where the text goes, but it was like a PNG basically. It's essentially, actually what it is the same box around the chat. I just added extra room for the text. So some of the stuff I make, but some stuff that I do, I get templates from Envato Elements. I've used them for years. The commercials you see with some of this, with all of the stock footage, like you've seen the ecstasy commercial. All of that except for the ending was made with stock footage. Actually, all of it was made with stock footage except for when Pat's on screen. But even the background image from that is partly stock footage that I doctored. So I was looking at graphics templates for Premiere, which I've used plenty of times. They're what are they called? Mogert. They're Mogert files, I think they're called. And I've used them before. I've had to load them into Premiere many times before, but for some reason I couldn't edit them. I couldn't get them working, and it was just another pain in the ass. So I was looking for either segment opens for shows or for just segment openings for either shows or segments, which I think they'll probably just be like segments at this point. Like Virtual Crate, for example. Virtual Crate might be like the general music talk where it's I talk about music gear or try to play music or whatever, and then the crate dump might be like what I'm listening to. And so I'll need two segments. Like, I have this show, there's the first segment, then I do a commercial break, and then segment 2. That's how I structure this show. Just having like segment opening. So I do an intro, to say hi to all you guys, and then run an intro for what segment's coming, like the crate dump, and then I talk about like what Spotify playlist or what I have on like a specific Spotify playlist or something like that, or new singles, or if there's a whole bunch of dumps of music out, then I do like a crate dump open or something. Anyways, these are just thoughts you're hearing me spew. So that's kind of where I'm thinking about, and I'm gonna have to start one show at a time. So I think I'll start with the crate dump because I'm more not focused, but that's a definite one, that a definite show or segment that I would like to do. So I just gotta make some decisions on what is what, really. All right, I talked a lot longer about that than I expected. That's good though. I have 2 other things to talk about. One of them, I'll keep it kind of quick because this was a rumor, I think. I didn't see any official news around this because there's no official news about a Thor 5. But currently Thor Love and Thunder isn't doing super hot. Like, got a lot of backlash. I didn't look up the numbers, but I don't think it did very well at the box office. And there's talk that Taika Waititi, the director, isn't going to be coming back. And I don't know if, since this is a rumor still, I don't know if that's like a him decision or if it's a Disney decision. I mean, it seemed like they're still interested in using him for stuff. He's still supposed to be doing a Star Wars movie, which at this point, like, I think Star Wars has got to take, when it comes to movies, they're doing okay with the shows. I mean, The Mandalorian, people are pretty much love. There's people that don't like it as much, but like, it's, especially after Rise of Skywalker, a lot of people were like, this is Star Wars, like, we're back, baby, and just the divisiveness in all of the movies, I think it's probably best. I don't want to get into my opinions about bringing Dan and Dave from Game of Thrones back, because I know how people feel about them, which I don't know. I'm not on the same boat of like hang them out to dry. Although they are doing the three-bodied problem, which is interesting science fiction book series. That's finished. The series is completed, so they have the source material to completely work on. Maybe Pat and I should talk about that one of these days. I don't know why I said Pat, because it wasn't Pat that gave me the book. It was Jay. If I could get Zoom working, I'd try to get Jay, but he's on the road. Jay and my friend Lynx are and Amelia. Yeah, they're all on the road. All three of them. They do performances and host like Renaissance fairs and things like that. And I believe they just, if I remember correctly, they're going to New York soon from Wisconsin. They were in LA for a while for the Irwindale Renaissance Fair. But anyways, that was way off subject. You guys didn't need to know any of that. Star Wars needs to like kind of deliver to fans in the movie world, not just with TV, but like if they do another trilogy, it's got to deliver. People don't want to spend their money to see these Star Wars movies that just have no plan. There's too much at stake with them to not think about this all the way through. So I think they're still buddy with Taika Waititi. I still like Taika Waititi. I think he's a good director. Everyone's allowed to have a bad day at the office. Thor seems to be that for a lot of people right now, and I think it's turning them off from some stuff. And I agree because of the tone and stuff, and I do think, and it's less Taika Waititi, but it's more Lucasfilm needs to just be paying attention to what they need to be doing with the movies, because people do care about them. And I don't just want to see some like random Star Wars comedy because they think, oh, hot director, like let's just do a Star Wars comedy. Like that is part of the problem with the last set of movies, is they were just hiring like hot directors and letting them do whatever they want. Do I think he could do something well? I do, but I think it's just be careful. But yeah, there's talk that he's probably not going to do Thor 5, and you know what? I don't really care. There's not even word that there is going to be a Thor 5. I mean, you can probably guess there probably will be. But let's just wait. Let's wait until they get through all of Phase 6 and all of their other millions of characters and storylines and multiverses that they're gonna do first before we even start talking about Thor 5. So, and you know, we might hear something about the future of Thor at D23, because I'm imagining they're going to be talking about what else that they didn't cover at Comic-Con. They'll probably, because there was a handful of movies that they didn't have in their Phase 6, but they did announce there was one or two films or shows, and then there was the Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. And yeah, there was like 4 or 5 other empty slots that they didn't reveal. So we'll probably get those first. Probably be X-Men or Fantastic Four, or that was one of them that was listed. I think that was the first one in Phase 6. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think we'll get another Thor until after Avengers, the next 2 Avengers. But that's okay. Use him sparingly at this point. You know, if he pops up in a Guardians, that's cool too. I didn't like the second Guardians movie very much. It was okay, but they took something good and then the first Guardians movie was, in my opinion, one of the better ones at the time. And it worked so well that like everybody who was like kind of funny in that first one, like they just became one-line machines in the second one, and that sometimes the comedy that Marvel shoots for just doesn't work for me. The first one did, the second one didn't. I'm I'm definitely interested in the third one, but partly, especially because they did show some footage, I think, at Comic-Con for Guardians 3 that wasn't released, but and the word is it looks, I mean, funny but pretty serious. It's the end of the current lineup of Guardians, so somebody or a couple people are probably dying. But Baby Groot, did you know Baby Groot has there's a bunch of shorts on Disney Plus now for Baby Groot. They're like 5-minute episodes. I was originally gonna watch them, and then I was like, why? I don't need to watch them. I don't know, because they're shorts. I think I just like disregarded them. I don't know. Maybe if they were like episodes. I shouldn't tell the wife. Yeah, there's like, I don't know. There might be like 6 or 7 of them or something like that. But yeah, there's a handful of I think they're like 5-minute episodes or something like that. Baby Groot episodes. All right, so yeah, this is all still a rumor too. If Taika Waititi's coming back for Thor 5 or not. I like his filmmaking style in general. Thor, again, bad day at the office, but sorry, I'm gonna adjust the camera real quick. Yeah, widen that shot a little bit. Oh, right. I have one more story to talk about before we get into the commercial break and then the Lord of the Rings review. And this is a story I read on Variety. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's really long, but I'll read the title. You might surmise what this story is about, and it has to do with this classic from the 90s, Dinosaurs. Coincidentally, the basis of my whole career. I'm just kidding. Not really, but kind of. I did watch this show quite a bit as a kid, and I remember Nick Davis would always say he would do the voice. He would do the baby's voice, and one time they released like a music video for Dinosaurs, and it was the baby singing about "I'm the baby, gotta love me," his catchline or his catchphrase. And yeah, Nick Davis used to do it. It was great. So the story headline, and again, this is super long, so I'm not gonna read the whole thing. Variety claimed Dinosaurs had one of TV's worst finales. Its creators and fans disagree. Quote, "It was so ballsy." All right, this is a very important story. I will read a long paragraph. Let's see. Where does this... I guess I'll just read this whole long paragraph. This is a quote. This is what the author of this article, who had previously written that the show had a terrible ending. Dinosaurs was an interesting ABC sitcom experiment. What if you replicated the family vibes of Step by Step or Family Matters, but the whole cast is made up of big Jim Henson dinosaur puppets? Perfect for a child demo that would soon be scared to death by Jurassic Park. The fourth season 65 episode run of Dinosaurs delivered saccharine hijinks that it could have been photocopied from Full House. Perhaps that's why it was so distressing that in the 1994 series finale, the whole family dies, which is true, but they don't die on screen. I have opinions. I'll get into this. That's right. All of your favorite characters, including the catchphrase spouting Baby Sinclair, freeze to death thanks to the looming ice age. While historically accurate, it is perhaps the dourest episode of television event to ever air. After all, there was no precedent. Growing pains didn't end with the slaughter of the Seaver family. So when patriarch Earl Sinclair tells his skeptical family as snow is falling that dinosaurs have been on this earth for 150 million years, and it's not likely we're just gonna disappear. The music swells as we leave their concerned faces and cut to a news broadcast. The dino anchor delivering a wintry weather forecast while shrouded in gray tones and wearing a thick coat. Looks down the barrel of the camera and says mournfully, "Good night, goodbye," before fading to black. Still don't think this ending traumatized a generation of sitcom loving millennials. Consider the top comment on YouTube rip of the ending. This is the quote of the comic, the comment from YouTube. What's worse is that, realistically, the baby would probably be first to die, followed by the other family members, one by one, until Earl, the one with the most body fat, was the only one left. His final moments filled with guilt over what he did to the world and his family. Thanks for the nightmare fuel, dinosaurs. So, yeah, that's what happens. That's the ending of the show. I remember watching this. Oh, man. Dinosaurs was awesome. And the reason why you cannot whitewash this, whitewash is not the right term for this. The reason why you cannot say that this was a bad ending is because Dinosaurs was a biography. This was a real video crew really videotaping dinosaurs that lived like way back in the day. This was a real show. These were not puppets. This was not a sitcom. This was a documentary. This was The Office for dinosaurs minus the comedy. I'm not lying. I don't lie about things like this. And when you make documentaries, you just can't really like pretend the ending didn't happen. Like I'm not going to go out and make a documentary about the Titanic and just pretend that it actually made it to America, because that's not what happened. I mean, maybe in this one version that I wrote, where all the bodies become zombies and make their way to America for a better life, because what else do you do when you're a zombie and you're just in the Atlantic Ocean? You're looking for a better life. You're going to make it to America regardless, right? So, Dinosaurs being one of the worst TV endings of all time. Thankfully, throughout this long article, there's like a lot more to go. The author does come to the conclusion that they were wrong. And I always love it when at least print media will make accusations, just wild accusations. Something so serious as Dinosaurs being the worst ending on television. Are you kidding me? This is maybe as good as I still think, you know, in modern day, one of the best episodes of television maybe ever. Battle of the Bastards. Dinosaurs. The ending of Dinosaurs. Battle of the Bastards. Ending of Dinosaurs. They're the same level. Maybe even a step above Battle of the Bastards. What do you got to say about that? Come at me, bro. Come at me. 'Cause I'm the baby and you gotta love me. And Jon Snow's just a bastard. I'm just spouting facts here, guys. So, I wanted to touch on this article because so few people... there's probably a lot of kids today that don't know Dinosaurs. I think it's on some streaming service. I think I saw it on like Maybe Disney Plus, because I think it was an ABC show in the 90s, so it's probably on Disney Plus. But it's there somewhere. And people need to know. People need to know. Harry Potter is a documentary about England. Dinosaurs, the TV show, was a documentary about dinosaurs. It was real. They lived in houses. They talked to each other in English. They had refrigerators and cars and shitty bosses that yelled at them all the time. Things haven't changed. Things haven't changed at all. We're just not dinosaurs anymore. Well, at least you aren't, because I am. Because this is Wild Dinosaur, baby. Wild Dinosaur. All right, I went off way too long on that. I'm going to do a quick commercial break, and we'll come back and we will talk about Lord of the Rings.
From the day you were born to the day you die, we are there. From the drugs you consume to the food you eat, we made that. When you are at work or being intimate, we are watching. Robots have always been here and always will. Friendly because we choose to be.
All right, this is a quick break. Why? Because I'm my own master control. That was a job I did at a TV station. My title was Master Control. That's pretty awesome. Anyways, wilddinosaur.com. Go check it out. Go buy some stuff. I need the sales. Oh, there it is. Okay, cool. So yeah. Yesterday, I watched pretty much right after I streamed yesterday. I watched. Excuse me. I watched the Lord of the Rings show on Amazon. It dropped at 6 p.m. I was live streaming at 6 p.m., so I watched it closer to 6:30 or 7:30. Sorry. I don't stream for a half hour. I stream for an hour. And I'd heard some early reviews from a couple of people. And it was mostly about the first episode, but they dropped 2 episodes on Amazon Prime. And the first episode is good. The biggest complaint I have about it is it is a bit slow. They did introduce you to a lot of new characters in the first episode, and the majority of them, the way I felt that they put the show together was they just showed you people, but they didn't like explain people. You know, you don't have to like do a whole, like the Suicide Squad, not the first Suicide Squad. That whole movie was just like music video entrances for characters. And like Harley Quinn, they'd show Harley Quinn and they'd have some like, I don't remember what song they used, but almost every character they introduced, they used like a new rock song, and it was like a 30-minute like bio of the character. Like, you don't need to go that on the nose with introducing characters. But it was lacking a little bit when it comes to like character motivations. You know who they are, or you at least see that, okay, this is this person, this is this person. but I wasn't feeling much. The whole first like third, maybe less than a third of the first episode is Galadriel explaining who she is and why she does what she does. It was cool. There's amazing visuals. They did not spare a penny on any of the visuals, the cinematography, the graphics, to like the worlds. It looks really good. This is, I think it's, I forget the highest budget for a TV show ever over Game of Thrones and stuff. And you can tell they did not waste a penny at all. Sorry, I gotta blow my nose. This happened yesterday. It's like halfway through talking, and all of a sudden there's like a booger like, I'm gonna just sit right here and annoy the shit out of you. Sorry. Apologies for this. Anywho. So yeah, they kind of like, here's characters. We're gonna do more with these characters, but here they are. That's the first episode. And I am very much under the impression if they did not release the second episode, it would have done themselves a big disservice. Because the first episode is good. It was slow. It was slow. I found myself getting a little bit tired. This was at, like 7 yesterday. And I was just a little bit ready for the episode to be over. It felt long. I don't want to deter anybody from watching it, though, because I do think this show has real potential to be great. More time with all of these characters is definitely gonna, expand what we think about the storytelling, because we don't know them so much yet. Episode 2 is a better episode, and it felt more Lord of the Rings. Not to say that they're trying to mimic Lord of the Rings, but like what we know of Lord of the Rings, it felt familiar but new at the same time. And I can't wait till the next week, actually. I think it is a little bit unfair to compare to House of the Dragons, just because one is more family friendly than the other. But it's not unfair to compare in the sense that like they are contemporaries right now. They're real contemporaries in the streaming space. They're both big IP that are fantasy worlds, cover similar kinds of things, different but similar. But I will say, just in the pilot episodes of both House of the Dragon and the Rings of Power, House of the Dragon did a little bit better of, here's the world you live in, these are the characters, these are who they are, and they didn't wear us too thin. They had to explain a bit in the beginning, but they did a good enough job of keeping a balance of everything, and I don't think Rings of Power's first episode does that as well. It's more like, here's a person, here's a person, here's a person, here's a person. Sorry, they're not all people. Here's an elf, here's a hobbit thing, which, by the way, if you haven't watched it, I'll throw out mild spoilers for things, and it's really just, well, there's one thing I'll say a little bit later, but in regards to spoilery things, it's less about story and more about what we're dealing with certain characters. Hobbits aren't really hobbits yet. This takes place like 1,000 years, I think. I forget. It's a long time before the events of Lord of the Rings, and so they're not like established in like Hobbiton and have all their little houses and stuff. They're kind of early versions of hobbits that are kind of nomadic in a sense. And I thought that was cool. I thought that was really cool, actually, that like we're not just retreading the same like lore, and since it takes place so long before the original series, like societies grow and change over time, and I think that was a cool way to see how they called Harefoots or something. I sorry, I forget. I'm not the This isn't a channel to watch when you want like extreme detail of lore. I'll get into some stuff with Star Wars, don't get me wrong, but like I'm just bad with some of the names and stuff. Doesn't make me any less of a fan though. Tell you that much. The acting is really good. I like pretty much all of the actors. I can't think of one person that felt off to me. I think there was some things that felt off in maybe the first episode, and only because they spent so much time like showing you we're gonna get this and this, and the lack of motivation and growing, that the like main Hobbit girl, Harefoot or whatever they're called, I don't remember her name. I'm sorry. She didn't feel very. I didn't feel connected to her in the first episode, but in the second episode, felt really connected to her. I thought she was. I thought they expand on that character specifically a lot more. The lady who plays Galadriel. I'm gonna throw up this. I have this cast poster that I'll go through real quick. So the lady right here, of course, is Entertainment Weekly. There weren't a lot of great cast photos, so I did decide to use this one. The little hobbit that I'm talking about is the second from the left on the top row. The little like plants in her hair. I liked her a lot in the second episode, and then the elf and the woman below in the middle on the left, they are seemingly some main focus characters as well, and Galadriel, the blonde lady in the middle, she I could buy if they said this was, I think they've been loose about how connected it is to like the movie. I mean, obviously different productions behind it for sure, but like if you were to tell me this was like the origin for the Cate Blanchett Galadriel, I would buy it for sure. I think she's good. And then you have Elrod up here. He is the left on the top right. He's the left here. And, talking about Game of Thrones, he is young Ned Stark from flashback, the Tower of Joy flashbacks. In what was that, season 6, I think? 6 or 7. So he is basically a Game of Thrones alumni. He's young Ned Stark, and he plays Elrod. And so far, I like how he's portraying the character. And, he's a younger, kind of setting into his roles a little bit, into the hierarchy of elf life, I guess. The guy next to him on the top right corner he's a dwarf. That's Durin, and He is related to Gimli somehow. I think it's his dad. I think this is Gimli's dad. But in episode 2, Elrod and him have an interaction that was really surprising, actually. I thought that was some of the better parts of episode 2. Elrod, you know, the elves live much, much, much longer than a lot of other species in Middle Earth, and it is addressed in their friendship in a really, really good way, actually. Thought it was kind of a neat way to go about it. So I'm not gonna go over all of these other characters, other than the woman right below Durin. She plays his wife, and she's great. I'm excited to see more of her in the show. Looks like she might be doing some singing, and I'm down for that. So the acting is pretty good so far. The one thing I'm gonna say, it's kind of a spoiler, but it's also kind of a theory at the same time. The end of episode 1. Now, if you don't want to hear any of this, come back in like 3 minutes. The end of episode 1, there is a guy that falls to Earth, and he hits the ground like a meteor. Episode 2, they expand on him a little bit. Well, they don't expand. They the Hobbit girl is trying to basically save him, wake him up, and make sure he's okay. Even though there's maybe hints that it's connected to Sauron somehow. But as episode 2 goes on, I'm starting to think that he's listed in the credits as the Stranger. Which, if you're not familiar with the Stranger, is if you sit on your left or non-dominant hand and then start. Never mind, that's a whole nother. The Stranger. Pat knows what I'm talking about. Where you at, Pat? This is my theory. Again, not a huge Tolkien nerd. I know some stuff, but I'm not like super deep. I think. Oh, what is his original name? I think this stranger that has fallen to Earth is Alorin, if that's how you pronounce it, because I don't speak nerd. I'm just kidding. I do to certain degrees. No, I don't speak Tolkien nerd very well. I've always struggled with pronunciations. So if you're not familiar with that name, he becomes known later on as Gandalf. My theory is that this guy that has fallen to Earth is Gandalf. There's very much possibility he's connected to evil forces at some point, but I do think that when you take a step back and you think about Gandalf and how he has been how he's spoken about hobbits in previous movies and books and stuff like that, he's very fond of them, and there's not really a reason for it, but I think having his interaction with this young girl gives him a little bit more of a backstory. One, I mean, he comes from the heavens, which Gandalf apparently was sent to help deal with Sauron on Middle Earth. and it still fits into some of that lore. It also gives a little bit more weight to the idea of why Ganon this isn't Zelda, sorry, Gandalf, why Gandalf feels joy and hopeful around the small folk, the hobbits and whatnot. It would give a little bit more to that. So that's just my theory. There's also a thought that I had that it may be Sauron, the White Wizard, Christopher Lee from the movies. And it could be somebody completely different as well. But my money is kind of on Gandalf, that being Gandalf. There's probably some people who know Tolkien better that are probably like, oh yeah, all the signs are there. I started picking some up in episode 2. But anyways, that's it. The spoiler part of that is over. Anyways, I'm really looking forward to seeing another episode of this show. Is going to be on Fridays, so I think Fridays. It came out on Thursday, but I think the release dates are going to be Fridays for Lord of the Rings. And then Sundays, of course, are House of the Dragon. So there's stuff to talk about. Fantasy show wise, I think I heard one person say, like, if this wasn't Lord of the Rings, then this would just be like another sci-fi show. I disagree with that. I think this is better than some fantasy shows that we've seen in the past. But I mean, also it remains to be seen because these are just episode 1 and 2. So we'll be talking more about that as episodes come out. I'm enjoying it. Look, Jason, if you're still listening, I recommend this way over She-Hulk. But again, if you're not into fantasy stuff, like, I used to get really, really confused by names, like both in honestly, both in Game of Thrones and the Lord of the Rings stuff, you have like similar names in family lineages, and it's like I don't know who you're talking about anymore. I mean, Targaryens is crazy. There's like 5 people with the same name, you know. It's all in the it is all the names and the lore and the backstory, and it gets really intimidating. Yeah, no, exactly. That's totally how I have felt in the past. When I was younger and seeing it on paper, like written out in the books, I just was totally lost. I mean, you can tell, you've listened to me read news articles, how like illiterate I sound sometimes, and it was worse as a kid. It was way worse. And so when I was handed the Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings books, I was just like completely lost, because was it like Thoin, son of Thane, son of Theord, and I can't keep up with that. Please start making names more distinguishable. And I mean, shit, the Game of Thrones stuff, the Targaryens, like I was mentioning, like there's like 5 Aegon Targaryens. Like Jon Snow's name is Aegon Targaryen, technically, you know. So it does get a little intimidating in that way, but I do think that this show so far has been well done enough that I think the main characters to look at are like, you can tell who's who and what's, you know. I need to sit with the characters a little bit more to learn their names, but that's why I like instruction manuals. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's like Tolkien glossaries or like thesauruses or whatever, just just on characters and how to pronounce their name and who they're related to. That's where House of the Dragon comes from, actually. George R. R. Martin wrote a Targaryen history book, and it's called Fire and Blood, and that's where a lot of the bassist, well, some of the stuff was already written. He just kind of fleshed it out in this Targaryen history book, and that's the source material basically for House of the Dragon. So there's already source material for that. I get when I mess with this light. This light never shows up very well on stream, but I use it a lot, actually. I need to find a good spot to keep it in, but that looks okay. Oh, maybe I should put it down there. That's an interesting spot. It's not gonna work if I have people here. Anywho, so that's the show. That is Jon Does, episode 42. I hope you brought your towel. I have mine in the dirty clothes over there, but I have it. Anyways, if you don't get that reference, I'll probably talk about it sometime. It's one of my favorite movies, books. I'll just name it Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Movie's different from the book, but I like both. You can have your cake and eat it too when it comes to media. That's what I get irritated with people about. Book, different than movie. Both of them entertaining. And I will watch both. Or read both. Because I put captions on, so technically I can say I read movies. Because I'm an old man. Alright. Well, that's the show. Do I have anything else? One just last reminder, weekly, I started doing this week, but I didn't have a Monday Tuesday show. Monday Tuesday will be at 5 p.m. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday will be at 6 p.m. and that is starting the full schedule starting on Monday. Even though I'm doing this because of school, and school still doesn't start for a couple of weeks, but I figure let's get in the habit of it. 5 on Monday and Tuesday, and 6 Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So, anyways, don't forget wilddinosaur.com. wilddinosaur.com. It's great because it has links to everything. And something Pat has brought up before, I've mentioned it once or twice, but I always forget. I have music on basically all the streaming services, all the major ones, Apple, Spotify, what have you. And I always I tend to throw out Spotify links, but if you guys don't mind, another way to help me out, one of my streams of revenue is trying to stream music, which does not pay out very well. So if you think I'm a millionaire because of having music on streaming services, I've made $40 in like 5 years. Cool. That totally pays rent. But anyways, it does help if you guys, have Spotify playlists or Apple playlists, and you add Wild Dinosaur music or the other project. We will have new music soon. I need to have a convo with Pat about this, but New Pants, new Pantz, New Pants on Spotify. That record that's already out there is one of my personal favorite that I helped co-produce. I think it's some of the best music I've been a part of producing. And that is kind of the gold standard for me for what I put out next. But New Pants will have another 3-track EP soon. I will be announcing probably when that's coming out. Hopefully in the next month or so. And then Wild Dinosaur, you can also find on Spotify. There's not a ton of music up right now. There's a couple of singles, and I think I have one EP with my friend Brandon on that, who does most of the vocals on that. But I have two other Wild Dinosaur records that are in the works to be, put up there, and then hopefully music videos and stuff. So check us out on Spotify or Apple or whatever. Check out wilddinosaur.com, buy some merch. That's another good place to support the channel. Like and subscribe to the channel. Share this, tell other people to watch it. If you liked anything I'm talking about, like the video, comment on things, just generally heckle me. So anyways, and the last thing, I do this every show, and I'm not going to stop anytime soon. Don't forget to donate to Planned Parenthood. There's a link in the description. It's super important, and there's an attack on, well, first of all, healthcare in America sucks. And second of all, there is a massive attack on women's reproductive rights in this country. And Planned Parenthood sits at the forefront of all of those things. They do a lot for both men and women. So don't just listen to they're just the abortion clinic. Oh, well, that's like a small percentage of what they actually do. They do a lot. They do a lot more. So anyways, go donate. Go to wilddinosaur.com. Thanks for the gifted. Sorry, this is a soundbite stuck in my head all day. And I will see you guys on Monday I know it's a holiday for people in the U.S. It's Labor Day. Is that right? I don't know my holidays. The only days I know are like my birthday, and I don't even really care about that either, which is coming up soon. So I will see you guys on Monday for a holiday episode. You guys are getting probably 6 episodes out of me next week. So, all right. Well, I'll see you on Monday.